The American Civil War was a pivotal moment. It tested the nation's ideals. The year was 1861. The United States, once a beacon of unity, was torn apart. 11 southern states seceded. They formed the Confederate States of America. This act challenged the very notion of an indivisible nation. The secession was rooted in deep divisions. At the heart of the conflict was slavery. The South relied on enslaved labor for its economy. The North increasingly viewed slavery as morally wrong. This fundamental difference fueled tensions. The nation was divided. Brother fought against brother. The very fabric of American society was ripped apart. The roots of the Civil War ran deep. They were intertwined with economic, political, and social factors. The Southern economy depended on agriculture. Cotton was king. Plantations relied on enslaved labor. This system created immense wealth for slaveholders. It also dehumanized millions. The North experienced an industrial revolution. Factories and cities grew. Wage labor became the norm. This created a different vision for America's future. Political compromises failed to bridge the divide. The issue of slavery's expansion into new territories further inflamed tensions. The nation marched towards a devastating conflict. The election of 1860 proved to be a turning point in American history. It was a time of great tension and division within the country, as the issue of slavery had been a contentious topic for decades. The nation was on the brink of a monumental change, and the election results would set the stage for an unprecedented conflict. Abraham Lincoln, a relatively unknown lawyer from Illinois, emerged as the Republican candidate. He was firmly opposed to the expansion of slavery into new territories and states. His election as president was seen as a beacon of hope for abolitionists and a dire threat to the Southern way of life, which was deeply rooted in the institution of slavery. The South saw this as a direct threat to their economic and social systems. The election results were met with outrage and fear. Southern leaders began to discuss the possibility of secession as a means to protect their interests and way of life. In response to Lincoln's election, South Carolina became the first state to secede from the Union on December 20, 1860. This bold move was a clear signal of the deep divisions within the country, and set a precedent for other Southern states to follow. Over the next few months, 10 more Southern states seceded from the Union, each declaring their independence and forming a new government. These states banded together, driven by a shared commitment to preserving their way of life and the institution of slavery. Thus, the Confederate States of America was born. This new nation was founded on principles that starkly contrasted with those of the Union, leading to an inevitable clash of ideologies and interests. The Confederacy elected Jefferson Davis, a former U.S. Senator and Secretary of War, as their president. Davis was a staunch supporter of states' rights and slavery, and he became the face of the Southern cause. The war officially began on April 12, 1861, when Confederate forces fired upon Fort Sumter in South Carolina. This act of aggression marked the beginning of a conflict that would last for 4 long and grueling years. The bombardment of Fort Sumter was a pivotal moment in American history. It signaled the start of a war that would test the very fabric of the nation and determine the future of the United States. The nation was now officially at war with itself. Families, friends, and communities were torn apart as individuals chose sides, either for the Union or the Confederacy. The conflict would pit brother against brother and father against son. Americans on both sides answered the call to arms with a sense of duty and conviction. Men from all walks of life enlisted, ready to fight for what they believed was a just cause. The war effort required immense sacrifice and commitment from both the Union and the Confederacy. Soldiers from both sides believed they were fighting for a just cause. Union soldiers fought to preserve the nation and end slavery, while Confederate soldiers fought to defend their homes and way of life. This deep sense of purpose fueled the determination and resilience of the troops. The stage was set for a long and bloody conflict. The Civil War would become one of the most devastating and transformative events in American history, shaping the nation's future and leaving a lasting legacy that continues to be felt to this day. The Civil War saw the rise of remarkable leaders, individuals whose decisions and actions would shape the course of American history. These leaders emerged from both the Union and the Confederacy, each bringing their unique strengths and perspectives to the conflict. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, led the Union with a steadfast commitment to preserving the nation. His leadership was marked by a profound sense of duty and an unwavering belief in the principles of democracy and freedom. He was a man of unwavering resolve and deep compassion. Lincoln's leadership proved crucial in navigating the Union through the tumultuous years of the Civil War. His ability to communicate effectively and inspire others was unparalleled. He held the Union together through sheer determination and strategic vision. Lincoln's decisions, from the Emancipation Proclamation to his military strategies, were pivotal in shaping the outcome of the war. He guided the nation through its darkest hour, demonstrating a remarkable ability to lead under pressure. His leadership style was characterized by a blend of firmness and empathy, earning him the respect and loyalty of his contemporaries. His Gettysburg Address remains a masterpiece of American oratory, encapsulating the essence of the nation's struggle and the enduring principles of liberty and equality. This speech continues to resonate as a powerful reminder of the sacrifices made during the Civil War. On the Confederate side stood Robert E. Lee, a figure of great military prowess and strategic acumen. Lee's leadership was instrumental in many of the Confederacy's successes during the war. He was a brilliant military strategist, known for his ability to outmaneuver Union forces despite often being outnumbered and outgunned. Lee's tactical genius earned him a reputation as one of the greatest military minds of his time. Lee led the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia with a combination of boldness and caution, achieving significant victories that bolstered the morale of the Confederate States. His leadership was a key factor in prolonging the conflict. He won impressive victories against the odds, demonstrating his ability to inspire and lead his troops under challenging circumstances. Lee's legacy is complex, reflecting both his military brilliance and the cause he fought for. Another key figure in the Civil War was Ulysses S. Grant, a determined and tenacious Union general whose leadership was crucial in securing victory for the North. He was a determined Union general, known for his relentless pursuit of victory and his ability to adapt to the changing dynamics of the battlefield. Grant's leadership style was characterized by his willingness to take risks and his unwavering focus on achieving his objectives. Grant's relentless pursuit of victory earned him Lincoln's trust and the admiration of his peers. His strategic decisions, including the siege of Vicksburg and the Overland Campaign, were instrumental in weakening the Confederate forces and turning the tide of the war. He would later become the 18th President of the United States, continuing his legacy of leadership and service to the nation. Grant's presidency was marked by efforts to rebuild the country and promote civil rights, reflecting his enduring commitment to the principles he fought for during the Civil War. Section 5. Turning Points of the War. In this chapter, we delve into the critical moments that altered the course of the Civil War, shaping the future of the United States. The Civil War raged for 4 long years, from 1861 to 1865, engulfing the nation in a conflict that would determine its very soul. The war saw brother fighting against brother, and entire communities torn apart. It was a brutal conflict, marked by immense suffering and loss on both sides. The scale of the carnage was unprecedented, with battles leaving thousands dead and wounded. Key battles and events shifted the tide of war. These moments were not just military engagements but pivotal points that influenced the morale, strategy, and political landscape of the time. The Battle of Gettysburg, fought in July 1863, was a turning point. This 3-day battle was one of the bloodiest in American history, with significant casualties on both sides. The Union victory at Gettysburg crippled the Confederacy. It marked the end of General Robert E. Lee's invasion of the North and was a severe blow to Confederate morale. It ended their hopes of invading the North. The defeat forced the Confederates to adopt a more defensive strategy, significantly altering their approach to the war. The battle marked a turning point in the war. It was a moment when the momentum shifted in favor of the Union, giving them a much-needed boost in confidence and morale. The Emancipation Proclamation, issued by Lincoln in 1863, was another pivotal moment. This executive order changed the character of the war and had far-reaching implications. It declared the freedom of slaves in Confederate territories. This bold move by Lincoln not only aimed to weaken the Confederacy, but also to redefine the purpose of the war. The proclamation changed the war's meaning. It transformed the conflict from a battle to preserve the Union into a fight for human freedom and equality. It became a fight for freedom and human equality. The proclamation encouraged thousands of African Americans to join the Union Army, bolstering its numbers and adding a moral imperative to the Union cause. The Emancipation Proclamation also discouraged European powers from supporting the Confederacy. By framing the war as a fight against slavery, Lincoln made it politically difficult for countries like Britain and France to intervene on behalf of the South. Section 6. The Human Cost of War. The Civil War was a tragedy on an immense scale. It was the deadliest conflict in American history. Over 620,000 soldiers lost their lives. Countless others were wounded physically and emotionally. The war's impact extended far beyond the battlefield. Families were torn apart, cities and towns were destroyed. The South's economy lay in ruins. The human cost of the war was immeasurable. Section 7. A Nation Reconstructed. The Confederacy surrendered to the Union in April 1865. The war was over. The long and arduous process of rebuilding the nation began. Reconstruction aimed to reintegrate the South into the Union. It also sought to grant citizenship and voting rights to formerly enslaved people. The Reconstruction era was a time of both progress and struggle. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the Constitution abolished slavery, granted citizenship, and protected voting rights. However, these gains were met with resistance. White Southerners enacted Jim Crow laws. These laws enforced segregation and discrimination. Section 8. The Legacy of the Civil War. The American Civil War left an indelible mark on the nation. It ended slavery and affirmed the principle of national unity. The war also led to significant changes in American society. It accelerated industrialization and urbanization. It spurred westward expansion. The legacy of the Civil War continues to shape America today. It reminds us of the fragility of democracy. It compels us to confront issues of race, equality, and justice. Section 9. The Unfinished Work. The Civil War may be over, but its legacy lives on. The struggle for equality and justice continues. We must never forget the sacrifices made. We must learn from the past. We must strive to create a more perfect union. A union that honors the principles of liberty and justice for all. The Civil War reminds us that words matter, ideas matter, courage matters, and that the fight for a more just and equitable society is an ongoing endeavor.